Medury, your response to this IPO. You know, there are a lot of people who feel that this is perhaps going to damage the image or the brand value of the LIC. E.A. Sarma, who was the Secretary of Economic Affairs, also goes on to challenge the constitutionality of this particular IPO. What are your thoughts?
I wouldn't like to comment on the legality per se. I think the government is definitely well within its rights to privatize. As Mr. Sharad said earlier, government has no business to be in business. I agree with that. But having said that, the government still continues to be in business, whether it is banking or insurance or general, reinsurance. And I would like to strike a small note of caution to the retail investor in this whole IPO excitement. LIC definitely is a crown jewel. It's doing well. It has kind of protected its market share in spite of massive privatization over the last, decade or a couple of decades. But if you see the IPO itself on its merit, when you compare it with other private insurers like HDFC Life or IPRO Life, the ratios definitely sound better. It is somewhat less expensive compared to the other companies. But the only caution that I have here is that, when you look at a SBI and the performance over the last 10 years, the stock has actually underperformed the index. SBI has, generated a CAGR of about 10%, whereas the Nifty has, generated much higher than that. Similarly, the other large insurance company that got privatized about 3 years back, which is not privatized but listed, which is the GIC reinsurance company, that has actually seen a negative CAGR of nearly 18%. So, with just a 3% divestment, the government is clearly not going to relinquish its stake. Government will still run the show. Government will still depend on LIC for a lot of its strategic needs. Therefore, I'm slightly worried as a long-term retail investor whether to put money in a stock like this for the very, very long term. As it is, I tend to be slightly cautious about IPOs, because there is a lot of excitement. And unfortunately, we've seen what has happened with the recent spate of IPOs that went live about 3-4 months back. LIC is definitely not one of those dot-coms or those tech platform kind of businesses. It's a fantastic long-term cash generating machine with huge brand loyalty, huge customer loyalty. The same is true for State Bank of India. While these are great organizations, for a long-term retail investor, whether to put their hard-earned money and expect an index-beating return over the next 5 years, 10 years, I'm not so sure. I would prefer to wait and watch and see how the IPO pans out. As it is, there are a lot of clouds of uncertainty in the market, notwithstanding what happened today with the RBI governor's announcement.
Correct, with the repo rate. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that, while I am not going to predict, and nobody can predict what's going to happen in the market in the next 3 months, 6 months. But as in the short term, there are clearly some signals that the market is somewhat nervous. I would like to see how the company pans out. Even with GIC Reinsurance, if you see, a great company, great franchise, but unfortunately, the way they managed their book of investment leaves a lot to be desired. The management is not that professional. That's my view. I mean, it's a great company, but if you see professional management, but the returns that they've generated on the investment book have left a lot to be desired. So I would like more information to emerge about the company than what has been filed in their prospectuses so far. Let the glare of public scrutiny be more on the company. There will be opportunities to buy for the retail investor over due course. But if somebody wants to be really excited and play with IPOs, by all means, they may do that. I would personally prefer to be a bit more cautious about this.
Okay, solid points there, Mr. Medury.